Hey guys, and welcome to another video about Goddess of Victory, Nikke. In today's video, we will be taking a look at some of the units that have been going up in the different tier lists to see why they are so good right now and if they're a good pick for your personalized teams. As always, if you like what you see and you enjoy my content, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get started. Before we start, I just want to mention that we will be taking into account the different bugs that affect the character's kit. A lot of the characters in the game are currently being artificially buffed or nerfed, depending on what kind of bug is affecting their abilities. And it's also kind of hard to gauge how each of the characters compare when they are in their normal or intended state. So we will be comparing them as they are right now in the game. The first character we will be taking a look at is Noise. Noise used to be around B or C tier, depending on which tier list you look at, but now you will see her near the top because of her second skill. There is currently a bug which gives her consistent healing instead of increasing her HP whenever she is taunting the enemies. And her second skill has no cooldown, which basically makes her unkillable, to the point where I would consider her as the best tank right now and a decent choice for a healer. I was able to test her in a team which I used for the first few stages in chapter 12, and I managed to clear stages that I wouldn't normally have completed, even with a 2000 power deficit. A few things I noticed while testing her out is that she is more effective when you run her with another burst type 1 character that has a 20-second cooldown. Just because she has a 40-second cooldown on her burst skill, and you would want to cycle through your burst meter more often. So using characters like Lighter, N102 or Volume will let you get around the 40-second cooldown from her burst. Overall, Noise is currently a very strong character that will tank a lot of damage for your team and provide decent healing. So if you have her and you haven't tried her out yet, she is definitely worth a try. Moving on, the next character we have is Laplas. This will sort of be my follow-up to my previous video about Laplas, where I talked about the things that you're getting into if you ever decide to pull for her. Now that I have tried her out extensively, I personally think that she should be ranked higher, probably around high B or low A. She dominates in boss fights, especially in stages where you are up against a boss with multiple weak points or targets very close to each other. Because Laplas can easily hit multiple targets all at once with the help of her skill 1, and she also deals additional damage to boss parts with her skill 2. You might not see that much value from her in the early to mid game, but she completely outperforms a lot of top tier units in the end game in certain scenarios, around chapter 12 and beyond. She can also be a great pick for stages with a lot of enemies if you put her in specific team comps where she will be able to maximize her AoE damage from her normal attack and burst skill. The main characters that I like to use with Laplas are Helm, Yan, and Privity. Laplas and Helm completely dominate boss stages. Yan helps in grouping up enemies, so Laplas can maximize her damage in stages with high enemy density. And Privity with Laplas just has really good synergy in their skills. She is overall a really good pick in any scenario. You just have to be aware of her downsides, and I recommend playing her manually since you will have better placements for your shots and most likely hit more enemies per attack. Next up we have Senti. She has been getting a lot of attention recently because of how good her shields are, specifically in higher difficulty stages. If you didn't know how her shields work, it scales off of Senti's max HP, but if it gets one shot by any attack, the excess damage will not be taken by your team. It's like putting a completely different character in front of your team as a shield. Her shield can be put up quite frequently because it only has a 9-second cooldown and can be further reduced every time she hits a fully charged attack. Senti's burst skill only has a 20-second cooldown. The damage scaling is a bit low, but the defense shred is actually really good. If you're only using her mainly for her shield, you can try to run another burst type 2 character like Dala or Admi. Just make sure that you are slotting in Senti right after the burst type 2 character that has the better skill, so that the AI will use their skill first. I also recommend that you run this combo with a burst type 1 character that only has a 20-second cooldown. This is one of the few scenarios where a 1-2-2 team will actually work just as well as the other team variations. Moving on, we have Rupee. She is a very good example of a very strong unit that is artificially buffed by the bugs in the game. There is currently a bug where Rupee can basically make some of the timed buffs permanent, specifically the ones that don't stack. She works really well with other iron element characters like Lighter, Senti, and Maxwell, Lighter being the best one to pair with Rupee. She is also part of the highest DPS team currently known, which consists of Lighter, Rupee, Scarlet, Haran, and Drake. But Drake can also be replaced by Dala or Yulha depending on the situation. Aside from the overpowered bug that she also has great personal damage, but once the bug gets fixed, it's likely that her power level will drop significantly. So if you have Rupee and you are planning on investing in her for meta purposes, just know that she is temporarily on top of the tier lists and may not be the best option once the bug gets fixed. Another character I want to add on the list is Soldier OW. She's not necessarily on top of the tier list, but both CN and JP servers have been experimenting with her because she actually has some insane buffs that are very useful in some of the characters that we have, and maybe even for the characters that are coming to the game soon. If you're not familiar with her kit, Soldier OW is a burst type 1 unit that has a 20-second cooldown burst, and she basically increases the reload speed for 3 of your allies with the highest HP. And whenever she uses her burst skill, she increases all the fire element characters' ammo capacity by 280% for 10 seconds at level 10. She is currently part of the Scarlet Infinite Ammo team composition because she greatly helps Scarlet with her reload speed problem. But the only downside to Soldier OW is that her stats are limited because she's just a rare unit. But I just figured that I'd put her on the list because maybe you'd find it interesting to put her in the synchro device and experiment with different team comps. I've been personally trying out Soldier OW with different Rappy Hyper Carry team comps, and I actually managed to get close to my highest damage record in the shooting range, which is pretty impressive in my opinion considering that both Rappy and Soldier OW have all of their skills at level 1 and only have bare minimum equipment. So yeah, those are some of the characters that have been climbing up the tier lists as of late. And if you have these characters but you haven't experimented with them yet, they're definitely worth a try. Let me know what you think about the characters on this list, and also let me know which other characters are better than we thought recently. As always, if you found this video useful or enjoyed my video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.